Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Fall in Love with a Princess Diva in Backrooms Part 2. Chapter 3. Raid and Meeting the First. Previously we saw that Issei managed to successfully enter level 1 without any troubles. On looking around he saw that level 1 is much calmer than the previous buzzing lights of level 0. He then noticed a supply crate, which had a travel backpack which he desperately needed, along with some food and water which he consumed. There were also depressants for a certain dragon, which he kept in case Drake started crying. He then decided to check more supplies, only for a soldier to hold him at gunpoint, thinking he was one of the hostile entities present. Thankfully, after clearing the misunderstanding, the guard, who is revealed to be a MEG operative, puts the gun down, only for the lights to suddenly flicker off, revealing a lone hound. It was easily taken down by the operative and Issei, who used a dragon shot to disintegrate it. The operative thanks him, and they head towards the MEG military base, where he is taken to the local head of the base, who was revealed to be Johnny Cage. Johnny then takes Issei around the MEG base, showing him many things that were present in the base, like weaponry, training facilities and many things. Issei was then taken to a projector room where Johnny revealed many things like almond water, liquid pain, neon water and fire salt. These things would be important for Issei later on. He then proceeds to head to the science room, where all the experiments were taking place. This was to give Drake all the information relating to the entities and items present in the backrooms. He meets Jax Briggs, the head of the science department. They were then introduced to the dragon Drake that was living inside of the weapon, which was informed to them as a sacred gear. He then informed the situation back home in Issei's world, which does not surprise the duo, given that they hail from a world also consisting of mythical beings, after which Jax began to transfer the data present in the data disk, containing all the information of the backrooms, along with the entities and the items. It was similar to how Ascalon was assimilated into the boosted gear back before the peace conference happened. The gear revealed a data disk acceptor which was inserted into it. Drake then experienced the complete information of the backrooms from level 0 to level 11. When asked by Jax about the entity partygoers, Drake gives them all the information relating to that entity, along with its description, looks, behavior, entity level and many more stuff. He also mentions the existence of party poopers as well as party hosts. He then goes on to mention the fun war, which killed almost all of the party poopers in existence, after which Jax informs them about the party host's entity. But before the discussion could continue, a soldier informs them about a mass entity attack on the MEG base, prompting the trio to go and fight against them. Back in the DXD world, Fuo Academy, 10:30 p.m. Rias and the others had headed to Azazel to inform him what had happened in the club room, the aftermath as well as Issei's disappearance. Needlessly to say, the Governor General of the Fallen Angels was angered at the actions of the Occult Research Club, but kept it inside, since his priority was to find Issei as soon as possible. Azazel then immediately contacted both Surziches and Ajuka Beelzebub about what had happened. They knew that if anyone were to blame, it is the Occult Research Club members, but finding Issei took the importance. Azazel then spoke. Azazel. First off, all sorry for calling you at a time like this. I know it is late in the night, but Issei has been missing for the past 7 hours. According to Rias, there has been no traces of him or the evil pieces since those 7 hours of his disappearance. Is there a way to track him? Initially the duo were surprised at what Azazel had told them, but they knew from what Azazel had informed him that it happened between Issei and the rest of the Occult Research Club members. Needless to say, they were disappointed. Surziches. I would like to apologize for my sister's actions. I did not know things would get this bad this fast. Surziches bows in front of the duo, to which Azazel responds. Azazel. It is them that should apologize, not you. For now we need to find Issei's location. Ajuka, can you see the location where it is now? Cause even if he is not having the pieces, they should still be present, where the last location was. Ajuka thought for a while, before responding. Ajuka. I believe he is still alive, since Rias would have lost any and all sort of connection to the pieces, and if he is dead, then the pieces would still remain where the last signature was, but there was nothing, no pieces, not even a body. Now you could argue about complete body disintegration, but if that was the case, then anyone would have sensed such an aura spike. So I believe he has been transported to a sort of a different dimension altogether. Someone or something must have transported him there. All we have to do is try and track his signal across the dimensions. Azazel. Are you sure this will work? I do not want to lose him too. Surziches. None of us will lose Issei. He is the reason why my family is happy, and the devil kind has become much more generous. I will not lose my future brother-in-law. Ajuka. Me too, he seems to be quite an interesting entity. I would love to meet him once again after his visit to that dimension. Surziches. We will help you as much as we can. Azazel, rest assured we will bring him back. Azazel. Words cannot describe how much I can thank you guys. We need to help him get back, or if possible save him from any danger. Both Surziches and Ajuka nodded. They then cut off their transmission. Azazel took a deep breath to calm himself down. He then decided to inform this to the Gremory peerage, Irina and Ravel. Rias and the others looked at a magic circle, revealing Azazel had appeared he had a neutral expression. Given his experience as a leader he knew that they might not be able to take the news well. On the plus side he was happy to hear of his student being alive, but on the minus side, he does not know where he is. Azazel. So what do you want to hear, the good news or the bad news? Rias. Good news, I just hope that he is alright. Azazel. Indeed, he is alive and well. Ajuka theorized that his pieces not being lost or destroyed means that he is still out there. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. They were happy that Issei was alive and alright. Then Azazel told the bad news. Azazel. The bad news is we do not know where exactly he is. He is definitely not on this planet or the dimensions around here anymore. He might be somewhere far, far enough for not even us to locate him. This saddened pretty much everyone, some even blamed themselves for his disappearance. The girls that genuinely loved him took it the hardest, with some even crying more than many times. The boys and Rias, who had been informed about the situation, were calming the situation down. Then Azazel spoke. Azazel. But worry not, we are expanding our search. We will not stop till we have found him. He is my student, and as a teacher I will not abandon him. Even Serziches and Ajuka have agreed to look for him. This actually reduced the crying of the girls, but it did not make them stop completely. They were still weeping for this, blaming themselves for his disappearance. Azazel then said something more. Azazel. The rating game between you and Sayerg Bale and his peerage will be postponed, at the very least till Issei comes back, because none of y'all are going to do well, and besides, you need to rest and train properly till then. Rias and the others agree to the statement. They knew that Issei is the glue that brought this family together. They will stay together and train not only for their sake, but also so that Issei does not have to run away ever again. They were determined to not make history repeat itself. Azazel then thought to himself. Azazel. I think Albion must have sensed Drake's disappearance. What will I say to Volley about the whereabouts of his rival? He wanted to fight him. I know that boy is not interested in chaos, but I just hope he does not do anything reckless. Azazel sighs. He knew that Volley would come gunning to him for answers. He needed to prepare for one. He knew that he could handle Volley without any issues, but he never had any intention to hurt someone that was like a son to him. Scene change. At an unnamed location, after Issei's fall to level 0, Volley was training his balance breaker, since he knew that he would have to face Issei in the near future, and possibly his father and grandfather. He wanted revenge against them for making his life as miserable as possible in his childhood. That was when Albion spoke up. Albion. I cannot sense Drake anymore. Volley looked shocked. Volley. What do you mean you cannot sense Drake anymore? Albion. I cannot find him or sense his presence anymore. Volley. Damn it, Haidu. Azazel, you better have a good explanation for this. Volley then deactivated his balance breaker. He will meet Azazel in the cover of the night, when everyone is sleeping. Scene break. In the backrooms. Level 1, 11:30 p.m. Issei, Jax and Johnny had gone to assist the soldiers in defending against the attacking entities. The hounds and skin stealers were easy to deal with, since majority of the MEG soldiers were having squirt guns and other machine guns. Hounds in particular were easy to kill. The duller and scratchers were the main problem, however. Dullers were able to easily dodge attacks and bullets, and were able to trap any unfortunate soldier that came close to them, while scratchers were even worse. They were able to just avoiding the bullets from the soldiers. They were easily able to kill the soldiers with relative ease by ripping their guns off, leaving several of them defenseless against the other entities. Thankfully those soldiers easily retreating by throwing a stone and running far away. They have been dealing with them before. However, this opened up a way for skin stealers and hounds to open up and attack those soldiers, but before they could kill them, Johnny Cage along with Jax Briggs and Issei Haidu came to assist them to destroy the attackers for good. Johnny. Leave the dullers, skin stealers and hounds to us. Issei, can you handle the scratchers? Issei. You got it. Greg. Partner, be careful, you are dealing a scratcher. Think of it as dealing with a low-class supernatural being. You should be able to take it without any problem. Issei. It is about time then. The boosted gear then announced. Welsh Dragon Balance Breaker. Issei immediately rushed to the scratchers that were attacking the soldiers. He summoned Ascalon to make things even. Blade. The Ascalon was strong enough to slice through the scratchers without much effort, surprising the soldiers. They knew that the armored man was as strong as the Red Knight, who can slay hostile entities effortlessly. He wanted to avoid using illegal move Triana because it drained a lot of stamina. He then said, Issei. Those infected with hound bites, go to the medical center, ask someone to treat yourself with almond water, I will take care of these. The soldiers and rookies nodded. Issei then continued to deal and effortlessly kill scratchers without any issues. He managed to help anyone that were under attack by those dullers and skin stealers. One of the skin stealers decided to go after Johnny Cage. Any normal human would fall to their attacks that are driven out of hunger. Johnny yelled. Johnny. Not the face, not the facie. The skin stealer did not respond when all of a sudden Johnny's hand started to glow green. In a flash of light, he charged faster than the skin stealer and managed to give a punch straight to the lower region. The skin stealer howled in pain. He then grabbed a shotgun and shot the thing right in its face. It had taken the skin of a human male as one of its hunt. Johnny looked down at the dead skin stealer and said, "Johnny. Man, even the paparazzi were not like this. They would make excellent news reporters if they weren't so fixated in having human flesh. Just stay away from this handsome face next time." Issei looked at the scene in complete confusion. He knew that hitting in there of all places must be painful. He made a mental note to ask the director to teach him that move. Jax also was dealing with several of these entities without much problem. Given his metal arms were made of a special metal, the scratchers were having a tough time trying to destroy the metal. Jax then spoke. "Jax. That's just sod." Jax pummeled the scratcher to the ground. He then brought his shotgun and destroyed the creature with a single shell. He then took a cigarette and lighted up, smoking it during the battle. The other hounds and skin stealers were easily being gunned down and killed by the armed soldiers. There were still dullers that were a constant source of problem. However, Issei had a solution. The boosted gear immediately announced. Boost, 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 boost. Explosion. Issei sent a dragon shot at the dullers present, disintegrating most of them with relative ease. The other hounds and skin stealers immediately fled the scene upon seeing this power. Even some scratchers ran away because of that, after which the others cleared up the remaining of the hounds, skin stealers and dullers, since the scratchers present were either killed or had fled the scene. Issei then dispelled his armor and looked at the scene. There were several deceased because of the attack itself. Issei looked away in shame, as he could not protect those innocent lives. Drake told him that it was not his fault for their deaths, and he should not take the blame. He should at the very least be happy that he was able to save as many lives as possible. Johnny then asked, "Johnny, how many casualties?" "Soldier. 10 casualties, sir, and 25 wounded." Johnny clenched his fists in anger. This is the first time they have lost so many people in a while. He wanted to prevent as many deaths as possible, but 10 have already died. Jax calms him down, stating that it is not his fault. This place is known to breaking the sanity of people and claiming their lives in a most gruesome manner. "Johnny. We will have a funeral tomorrow for the fallen. I want the ones who are injured and were fighting to rest. I do not want another wretch over here. We need to maintain our sanity, so take some rest and recover your energy." The soldiers nodded and went inside the bunker rooms to go to sleep. "Johnny. Kid, Jax, you too." Issei. "Alright, director." Johnny gave him a fake smile which Issei noticed, but he did not want to argue. He was given a special quarters inside his room, where he was sleeping peacefully. It was a single bed, but it was nevertheless comfortable. He was alone considering the girls used to sleep on his entire body, or some even use his arms as a pillow. He then went to sleep only to see. "Hello, there." Issei noticed a man in his 30s was wearing a black formal suit with formal pants. He seemed to be a man of the 19th century. Issei noticed that he gave a weary leader-like vibes around him. Issei took a minute to recognize who this man was. He was the first, the overarching absolute leader and founder of the major explorer group, MEG. He had a smile on his face, like a welcoming one. "The first. I take it you have already recognized me." "Hi do Issei. Worry not, I mean you and your dragon buddy no harm." "Issei. How do you know my name?" "The first. I can travel anywhere in the backrooms. Normally my presence is limited across levels where there are no MEG bases, but over here I can visit dreams as well with the technology MEG created by Memory Juice. I do not use this at all. I sensed your presence, and I knew that you were stronger than an average human. In other words, you caught up my curiosity." Issei sighs. He realized that he was another office. "The first. You compare me to a lowly, kind of saddening to me." Issei Haidu. "Issei. You both seem to be familiar, in terms of personality at the very least. So what brings you here?" "The first. The first. I have seen most of your memories. Your dream of becoming a harem king and you being the op-eyed dragon seemed quite interesting to me." Issei blushed when he said that. He did not expect the founding member of the MEG found out about his dream. He thanked Lucifer for Drake not being here, else he would have endlessly cried. He knew that he needed to at the very least improve his reputation, not for his sake, but for his partner's sake. He cannot see the one who was with him since his early days of being a devil. "The first. But that's not the only thing that I saw in you. Beneath your perversion is a man with a heart of gold, a man who would do anything to protect the people he cares about, even those that hated him. You have gained the respect and love of many beings despite being a pervert. You have girls that love you and care for you back home, friends that would give their own lives for your sake, just to see you alive, and knowing you would have also done the same. Honestly, men like these are rare, no impossible to encounter in the backrooms, where people who end up here only want to explore and nothing more, nothing less. You want to leave the backrooms not for your own sake, but for the people around you. You truly are a spectacular and a selfless being." "Hi do Issei." Issei smiled when he heard the statement. He knew that the first respected him. He was happy to gain the respect of such a powerful figure. Then the first spoke up. The first. So I have decided to do something to help you on your journey. I will restore the life force you lost thanks to the juggernaut drive you initiated because of the assumption on the loss of that nun, Asia Argento. As you can see, I am kind of immortal and I can pass down the trait to those that are close to me. My wife and son have this trait which I specifically gave them so that I can live with them forever. Issei. Whoa, nice, thank you. The first smiled at Issei in response. He then spoke. The first. As you know, I got this ability thanks to when I was sent here. A lucid dream got me to this place with the perk of immortality, along with my ability to travel to any backroom level I so desire, including the ones that wanderers cannot leave like level redacted and level, although I would not recommend you to go there cause they are considered class dead zone, which is basically a death sentence if you head there. Issei gulped on hearing that these two levels seemed to be nightmare fuel. He needed to avoid going there at all costs. Even if there was a way to no-clip into those levels he would have to avoid. Listening to the first seemed to be the right call of action. The first. As for my second gift, this is similar to traveling to a different level which wanderers cannot normally do. You will have to mark the level and visit that level at least once, like a checkpoint in a game. Then you can visit it anytime you can desire, but this skill will have a 2-day cooldown however, so be mindful of using this skill in an emergency situation only. Issei. Alright, understood. The first then smiled and spoke. The first. Alright, looks like the memory juice for the device has run out, besides your dragon buddy is worried, so you might want to wake up, but I will try to meet with you again, at the very least before you leave the backrooms. Issei. Alright, the first. Issei smiled at the first. Before the dream sequence faded, Issei woke up, seeing that it was 6:30 am, another day had begun for the Red Dragon Emperor. Level 1, 6:30 am. Issei woke up, he noticed that Drake was worried about his partner's unresponsive tendencies, he knew that he had gone to sleep. Drake. Partner, thank office, nothing happened to you, I lost your connection, I am so happy that you are safe and sound. Issei. Heh, worry not, nothing is going to happen to me. Drake then sensed that Issei's life force has been restored, needless to say he was shocked, he then asked. Drake. Partner, how did your life force got restored? Last time I checked even that Katsunjutsu did not work. How did you get your life force back? Issei. Oh Drake, do I have a story for you? Issei then explained his run-in with the founder and the leader of MEG, the first. He then informed him that he was the one to restore his life force and gain access to marking levels, which he needed to visit, then only he could teleport at will. He told his entire run-in with the man, he minus the op-eye dragon thing for his dragon sanity. He did not want him to cry after this. For him Drake was like his most valued partner, as much as Rias is, he is almost like a brother to him. Drake. To think my partner managed to get the attention and respect of the first. He may not be my strongest host, but he is certainly the best I have had. He treated me as a person rather than a tool, and now he has gained the powers and respect of one of the most influential men in the backrooms. I am honestly proud of him. Greg. That's nice partner, I am so proud of you, but we need to get up, Cage must be waiting for us. Issei. Yeah, let's go. Issei then wakes up from the bed and first takes a shower, which he had not done once since his arrival in the backrooms. He then wears a green army shirt and track pants, which were much more comfortable than his regular school uniform. He then walks to what seemed to be a funeral procession to the fallen who had died during the entity assault yesterday. After the procession, he heads to the outside of the base and marks the area down for instant teleportation. Issei then visits the Johnny's office back at the MEG base. He then informs him that he would be leaving very soon. Johnny. I can take you to the next level entrance, however this one will be much dangerous than the previous one. Issei. I understand that director. Johnny. Alright then, let's go. Johnny then took Issei to what seemed like a metal door. Issei then asked. Issei. Director, you could have taken me to the hub, then why here? Johnny. Well, there have been a lot of entities that have been spotted around the hub, mostly the hostile ones recently, so it is going to take time to clear them off, like they have been relentlessly attacking and killing wanderers, so I would not recommend to take that route, they would mostly end up ganging up and killing you, so I would not suggest to take them on right now. Issei. So kind of like a roadblock in RPG games. Johnny sweat drops and responds. Johnny. Yeah, but before you move through that door, I will give you my number and access to the backroom's Wi-Fi. This should allow you to connect to me anytime you want to contact me and the outside world as well. Issei smiles and responds. Issei. Thank you so much for your help. Johnny. No, I should be thanking you for your help against the entity swarm. Without you we would have a higher number of casualties, and worse, our base might have fallen. Issei. We will meet again soon, director. Johnny. Indeed we will, Issei Haidu. Issei then walks through the metal door, which leads to level 2. He waves goodbye to Johnny Cage before heading to the metal door. He then enters the door ready to face any challenge coming at him. Johnny then dials someone important. Johnny. Yeah, come on, don't be like that. Yeah, a boy might come here. I want you to look after him. His name is Issei. He is a good kid. You might like him. He defended the MEG base that was under siege at night. Because of him, most of us are still alive. Okay, and help him if you can. Johnny then disconnects the call and heads back to the base. Chapter 4. Pipe dreams and new companions. Previously we saw that Azazel had been informed about the situation that had happened here, with him understanding that the occult research club had screwed up big time. He talked to Surziches and Ajuka about the situation, which they told that Issei is not dead, he could be in some other dimension for the time being, since his evil pieces would be disabled and non-existent, by Ajuka's theory. Azazel then took a sigh of relief once the communication was off, with a promise that they will continue looking for Issei. Meanwhile, given his experience as a leader, he was able to control his emotions and talk to the orc about the situation with him, even telling them that they would be postponing their match with Sayard Bale, and they need to train not for their sake, but for Issei's sake. Meanwhile, 7 hours before the meeting, at an unnamed location, Albion sensed the disappearance of Issei along with Drag, much to Vali's shock. Vali, who was training to be stronger than his grandfather, was angered and he wanted answers. He decided to go and talk to Azazel about the situation, since he wanted to know the location of his rival. Back in the backrooms, the raid had already begun, with Issei, Jax and Johnny joining the fight. They were able to prevent many casualties, with Issei himself activating his balance breaker, destroying several scratchers and dullers. The hounds and skin stealers were much easily dealt with thanks to Johnny and Jax, and some of the soldiers were constantly firing on them. Eventually the assault died down, and many of the soldiers' lives were saved, and the entities like hounds and skin stealers decided to flee the situation. Issei then realized that 10 people had perished during the attack and clenched his fist in anger. He then goes inside to take some rest so that he can get ready for another day, only for the first, the creator and the absolute leader of the MEG to show up. They have an interesting conversation where Issei realized that his attitude is similar to Office's attitude. He then tells him that he is interested in a man like him and wants to see his dreams come to reality. He decides to help Issei with his journey by restoring his life force and giving him an ability that would allow him to mark any level so that he could visit it as a checkpoint once he enters that level. But it would be under a cooldown of 48 hours once he uses that ability. After that, Issei escapes the dreamscape, where he explains to a worried Drake about the situation, which makes him proud to have a partner like him. They then wake up first to pay respects to those that have fallen. He then asks Johnny Cage to take him to the entrance in level 2, which he accepts. After that they travel to a metal door where he walks through and enters the next level. Level 2, 10:30 am. Issei walked through level 2 for what seemed like forever. Given that the level was supposed to be much harder than a regular level, Issei encountered a few scratchers and hounds, which he effortlessly killed without much effort. Earlier Johnny had given him some spore bombs and spore thrower. These things were made from volatile backrooms grown around damp areas in the level 7 and 14 and many other levels. He threw some of them at those scratchers, destroying and crippling their movement, allowing Issei to deal the final blow to them. Dreg. Those grenades are coming in handy, ain't that right, partner? Issei. Indeed, I never knew that mushrooms could be used as a weapon. These are pretty good. Dreg. Things in the backrooms are something else. The squirt gun which Cage gave us as a thank you gift for our help against these entities makes dealing with those annoying scratchers much easily. Issei. So let's summon them and fight against these. The boosted gear then announced. Done. The water gun with a super soaker showed up in Issei's boosted gear, which was attached to a water tank formed inside of Issei's bag. Issei managed to integrate this thing into the boosted gear, just like he had a simulate Ascalon inside of him. It was filled with almond water. This was meant to weaken certain entities that are weak to almond water. Greg had informed him about certain entities that can be weakened by the water, including certain entities like wretches and insanities. Issei then moved along the pipelines after slaying those weakened entities with relative ease. He needed to avoid using more of this because of the less amount that was present in level 1. He then noticed a lone entity sitting on the side of the pipes. It was about 2 to 3 feet tall and is very light in weight. The hair is typically made of yarn or horsehair, eyes are sewn on buttons, and the mouth is sewn on with yarn or pipe cleaner. The skin color is usually brown or dark blonde, their bodies made of fabric and cloth. The ends of their hands are decorated with shards of broken buttons. It was looking around for a wonder. Greg. Partner, that's a doll face. Issei. A what now? Greg. A doll face, codenamed Entity 34, are small doll-like humanoid entities, similar to a Raggedy Ann doll, that can be found in the backrooms. Their physical body appears to be a cloth or wool plushie. They are self-replicating and extremely hostile unless tamed. Issei. So I need to either kill it or tame it. Greg. Indeed, partner. Fortunately, dealing with a doll face is as easy as taming one. Just offer almond water to them and act friendly to them. After this, the doll face will act kindly to you and follow you around. It is not possible to tame one if it is part of a large group. Thankfully this one is a lone wolf, so you should be alright. Issei. Alright. The dollface notices him and responds. Dollface. Hi. I'm Dollface, it's nice to meet you. The dollface charged at Issei, thankfully it was pretty weak, it was easily knocked down by Issei. Issei then immediately brought out a bottle of almond water and fed it immediately, after which the struggling dollface immediately toned down, it then spoke. Dollface. Hi. I'm Dollface, what's your name? Issei. Issei, hi to Issei, it is a pleasure to meet you. The dollface looked at his new master for a while, Issei then asked. Issei. I am planning to get the heck out of here, do you plan on joining me dollface? The dollface looked at him and responded. Dollface. Yes I will, but can you give me a name? Issei. A name huh, how about Rex? The dollface beamed at the name suggestion, it liked the name, it responded. Rex. I like this name, I want to follow you Issei. Issei. Great, let's go on this journey together. Rex climbs on Issei's shoulder and they both head towards the endless pipe rooms. Issei noticed the inside of the pipelines to be running some liquid. Greg. These pipelines are theorized to supply almond water, partner. Issei. Wait, so all these pipelines have almond water. Greg. Indeed, that's the best part. The worst part is that the temperatures here reach 200°F. It can literally cook a human alive. Rex. Cooked, I don't want to be cooked alive. Issei. We will not explore those pipelines, worry not Rex. Issei and Rex then proceed to find an exit to this level so that they can go to level 3. Their goal is to reach level 11 as soon as possible if they needed to find a way to get out of here. They noticed something dark in the pipeline area. Issei felt killer intent coming from that thing in the dark area. It had a long smile with multiple sharp teeth and has white glowing eyes. Drake then silently spoke as only Issei and Rex heard it. Drake. Partner, be careful, that's a smiler, whatever you do not shine a light source at them or make sudden movements. Issei. What exactly is a smiler? Drake. Smilers are hostile entities, recognizable by their signature reflective eyes and gleaming teeth. These entities only appear in dark corners or doorways where the rest of their form is not visible. Sighting of these entities are among the most common in the backrooms. It is speculated that these entities do not have bodies, rather, the darkness is their bodies, however, some people beg to differ. The smiler are typically passive creatures, but sudden noises or motion, from panicking or retreating, will make them highly aggressive. When seeing a smiler, it is best to stare it down and retreat. Do not blink. Smilers have a rivalry with frowners and rattlers and will go out of their way to attack them, even abandoning their wanderer target. Issei understood what he needed to do, he stared it down, however his hands made a shuffling sound loud for the smiler to hear it. The smiler lunged at Issei in an attempt to kill him, but Issei dodged it, making it move to the sideways. In a split second, Issei transformed into his balance breaker. Welsh Dragon Balance Breaker. Flame Blaze. In a split second, fire emanated from the gem of the armor as it burned the smiler alive. The smiler, being attracted to a light source, decided to move towards the light source. It ended up being burned alive easily with relative ease. Issei then dispelled his balance breaker and asked. Issei. Takes them off to the flame quite literally. Are you alright Rex? Rex looked around its body for any scratches and responded. Rex. I am fine, Issei. Issei. Well, we need to move on ahead, who knows, we might run into other wanderers after all. We can trade with them if we can. Thankfully those crates also had some back dollars, cannot use yen over here. Rex moves ahead to check whether there is danger ahead. Drake then talks about something important. Drake. Partner, there is something I want to tell you about. Issei. Go ahead. Drake. There are entities called doppelgangers. Issei. I take it they are considered imposters. Drake. Indeed, doppelgangers, codenamed Entity 32, are malicious entities, known for their ability to imitate and manipulate wanderers. Indistinguishable from humans, these entities should be avoided at all costs. Unlike most hostile entities, this entity chooses not to kill wanderers right away, instead they rather choose to befriend wanderers. After successfully earning the trust of a person, they slowly manipulate their victim to go insane by gaslighting them, tricking them into entering dangerous levels, or influence them into killing other wanderers, etc. This process can take weeks, months or even years. The entity also has the ability to transform into their victim after they die. It is theorized that they take their last victim's appearance, so if, by chance, the entity stumbles upon a person that their last victim knew, it will be easier to lure them into its trap. Issei. Damn it, is there a way to identify them? Greg. Although identifying doppelgangers is hard, as their anatomy is identical to those of humans. They breathe, bleed, sense, and age. However, there are a few things that can help somebody identify a doppelganger. There are 4 ways to identify them. Doppelgangers seem to have difficulties understanding abstract concepts such as mathematics, philosophy, networks, art, law, nations, etc. Doppelgangers may also have difficulty remembering things. X-rays can reveal doppelgangers that have recently transformed. Doppelgangers may not be able to read nonverbal gestures that are not used so often, since they all learn about humans by observing. Doppelgangers are not aware of most of the things in the front rooms, our world, Issei. Alright, that makes it much easier. Greg. There is another way, I can sense a deceptive or killer intent from them, they need to get through me, if the being is a doppelganger, I can identify them, also killing them is relatively easy, just like killing a regular wanderer. Issei. Alright. Rex. Hey, I see two people fighting some entities ahead. Issei. Alright Rex, let's go check them out. Drake, we need to be ready for an ambush. Drake. Yeah, let's go and save them. Issei and Rex then head to the area where they could see a blonde-haired boy with an armor and a black-haired girl with a tinge of red, wielding what seemed to be a sict. The blonde boy was holding what seemed to be a sword. They were fighting a horde of scratchers, hounds and skin stealers. Damn it, these things are everywhere. 2. They are worse than Grim back home, we need to stay alive, we have been surviving so far. True, even back in Remnant where everyone hated my guts, for some damn papers, we cannot fall. We have huntsman training meant to survive situations like these. 2. But they seem to be too overwhelming, but I won't give up. That was when the duo noticed that more of these entities have decided to gang up on the two lone wanderers. Great, more of these things. 2. Now what do? We cannot hold them for much longer. I wish there would be another wanderer to help us, I don't want to die here. 2. Neither do I, John, neither do I. That was when Issei decided to step in to help these two wanderers. With using his speed he managed to defeat most of these entities without much effort, shocking the duo. John. Who are you? Issei. Just an ally, worry not, I am on your side. 2. Do you have a name, mister? Issei. Issei Haidu, I am here to help you guys, now let's finish these entities once and for all. 2. Name's Ruby Rose, it is a pleasure to meet you Issei, let's finish them once and for all. John nodded, they immediately began fighting the horde of entities that had started to approach them. Issei immediately went into his balance breaker state. Bulch Dragon Balance Breaker. Issei immediately transformed into his balance breaker armor, which was a red dragon armor with green jewels that cover the body of the user. This armor has a pair of rocket thrusters at the back that gives a temporary boost of speed and flight, assisted by the retractable dragon wings that come out of it. Ruby had stars in her eyes, she had never seen an armor like this, before even Atlas did not have armor like this, she wanted to touch the armor once, she immediately brought out a crescent circle, a high-caliber sniper's side which she designed herself at signal, as well as her eye for detail, when observing other people's weapons and tools. This weapon can transform between a scythe and a sniper rifle, and can fire dust rounds in either form with massive force. John on the other hand brought out his Cressera Mors, which was a simple sword and a shield, this coupled with his semblance aura amp, which he had unlocked in Foreverfall, and enhanced in the Backrooms due to him fighting an endless horde of entities in level 1 and level 2. This allowed him to enhance his abilities and his own aura regeneration, to the point of some entities like hounds and skin stealers having no effect on him. As any damage they do, his aura gets healed and regenerated, allowing either him or Ruby to take the final kill. While Ruby's semblance was Petal Burst, which allows her to dash with an inhuman speed in whatever direction she chooses, often leaving trails of rose petals in her wake. However, this is, of course, at the cost of, so Ruby can't rely on it indefinitely. Ruby is shown to be capable of creating powerful tailwinds with her semblance. If she gathers enough momentum, the resulting turbulence is capable of lifting people off the ground. They all began fighting the endless hordes of skin stealers, hounds and scratchers. Since Smilers lurked in the dark corners, they were freed from their assault, along with Issei, who was in his balance breaker form, were easily slaughtering these entities that had come and attacked them. Ruby was especially more effective as she easily blitzed through many of these entities in a flash of petals and slaughtered them using her weapon with relative ease. John also assisted them in taking down majority of these entities. With his aura amp, the hounds and skin stealers were not able to do anything. The entities looked at the trio of wanderers in pure fear, their instincts they were given, they needed to flee before they could do anything. However, they encountered a very aggressive Rex, who told Rex, "Hey dollface, Rex here, when will you die?" Rex brought out his claws and killed many of the fleeing entities without much effort, given that they were already weakened by the trio. Over time, majority of the entities were either killed or defeated, and those that were not fled the scene. Issei dispelled his armor and relaxed, while the others had let their guard down. Issei. We never got to fully introduce ourselves. The name is Issei Haidu, I am from a place named Kuo, which exists in Japan. John suddenly had his guard up along with Ruby. John. How do I not know that you are a doppelganger? Issei. Can a doppelganger do this? Issei brought out his boosted gear, surprising the duo. He then summoned Ascalon and his squirt gun as a way of proving he is not a doppelganger. John let his guard down. Ruby was still a bit skeptical, but she also let her guard down. John then spoke. John. Sorry about that, doppelgangers can manipulate us and turn on us at any time, so that is why we stuck together, never to leave sight of each other. Besides, I am John and this is my friend Ruby Rose. Ruby. Pleasure to meet you, Issei. Hey, can I take a look at your weapon? Issei. Oh well, it is kind of attached to my body, so I cannot. Ruby sulked down. John. She is kind of a weapons freak. Anyways, we are from a place called Remnant, more accurately Vale. I have never heard of this Japan. Issei. Me too, even Vale does not exist on the planet Earth. Ruby. So are you from a different dimension? Issei. I guess so. Here, let me introduce you to the others. The boosted gear in his gem glowed green, a voice spoke from it. Greg. Greetings. Ruby got more excited while John was confused. Ruby. Oh my gosh, a weapon that can talk, best day ever. Issei was confused while John sighed. Drake then laughed. Greg. It's nice to see someone who is this cheerful. Anyways, I am Drake Gotch, one of the two heavenly dragons. I also hail from the same dimension as my partner does. Rex. And I am Rex, a dollface. It's nice to meet you. John. I never seen a tame dollface in person, the ones we encountered were pretty aggressive in nature. How did you tame one of these, Issei? Issei. It is easy, just feed one of them almond water and be nice to them, you will also get one just like me. John. I see, nice. Issei. So what's your story, how did you end up here? John. I honestly don't want to talk about it, it just brings up bad memories, but since we are allies, we should at least know about each other, but we need to hear your story as well. Issei. I agree, I don't mind telling you my story. John. Alright, so there is this academy where huntsmen are trained, Beacon Academy, so I wanted to go there. I always wanted to be a hero like my grandfather, but my parents never let me train. They trained my sisters however, but they never did train me. Whenever I asked them why, they refused to even tell me the reason as well. And I had 7 sisters before you ask. Issei. How did you survive? John. Lots and lots of patience. Anyways, they tried to mold me into a house husband to produce the next heir. After having enough, I ran away, forged my documents to enter Beacon. That's where I met Ruby Rose, who is next to me, and my only true friend. I was given a team to lead, given my performance at handling the initiation test. Despite my low combat skills and leadership knowledge, I had my life set, or that's what I thought. John took a deep breath. John. I had saved my bully from an Ursa attack. He did not take it too well and exposed my transcripts. Once my transcripts were revealed, everyone who I knew as a friend turned on me, even my own team, minus Ruby who stood by my side, even the professors stood by my side. Ospen, who is the headmaster, knew of my false transcripts, also was with me. So was Professor Goodwitch, who was like a mother figure to me, even more than my actual mother. Speaking of parents, my parents disowned me for tarnishing the ARC name. Honestly, I hated it. That's not even the worst part, however. The students, including my own team, used to either insult me or beat me to near death. Thankfully, Professor Goodwitch was there to protect me and even heal me from the injuries. But honestly, it seemed like torture. Anyways, honestly, I don't even know what to do. The people I cared about betrayed me, my parents abandoned me, and everyone I cared about abandoned me. John broke down in tears. Ruby comforted him. However, Issei, Drake and Rex were pissed beyond pissed. They wanted to tear those people apart from even hurting John. Issei in particular wanted to break them apart. He knew that those people do not deserve to be huntsmen anymore, and definitely not a hero. Ruby then continues. Ruby. One of his torturers was my own half-sister, Yang Xiaolong. She was the one who used to lead the other students to beat him up when I was away or the professors were away. I was there whenever I could. Honestly, the woman in front of me was not my sister, never was, and those people were not my friends. After John ran away, I joined him and we both ran away. Eventually we were surrounded by Grimm, a species that feed and are attracted to fear. I and John were forced to make a jump, and we then teleported to a room full of buzzing lights, yellow walls and a wet carpet. We both were separated, but we met up in a massive warehouse with concrete walls. After that we headed here, where we got surrounded by these creatures. After that we met you, and the rest is history. Issei. John, who was the one who revealed your transcripts? Issei said with a growl, telling the duo that he was angry, no furious at their actions. John then wiped his tears and responded. John. My partner Puranikos and my bully card in Winchester. Issei. I will tear those bastards apart. Issei was radiating a massive killer intent, making the duo flinch. Any entity that was trying to ambush them immediately fled, as they did not want to deal with him. Issei noticed the situation and calmed down. Issei. Sorry about that, I usually do not lose my temper, so I will tell you my story of how I ended up here. John. You are not mad that I used false documents to get in? Issei. Not at all, the man I see was wanting to be a true hero. You defended your bully, even when he was nothing but a jerk to you. You were selfless, and that's what heroes should be having, not strength or combat experience. In my book, John, you are a true hero no matter what, and it is his fault for exposing you. He is the bastard, not you. You deserve to be in Beacon, not him. Honestly, if I had met you earlier, we would have been good friends. Same goes for you, Ruby. Both smiled, they could not see any lies. Issei then explained his story. Issei. I hail from a world where although grim do not exist, the supernatural does. I was killed by my ex-girlfriend, who was a fallen angel. After that I was revived as a devil by my master, and my love interest Rias Gremory. After that I fought Riser to save her from her marriage, fought against Cacabiel, my eternal rival Volley Lucifer, Loki, the god of mischief, almost lost my life there. After which I fought against Diodara who wanted to sexually assault my younger sister figure Asia, went berserk, saved my friends, then fought against the hero faction and befriended Kunu, a nine-tailed fox, to name a few. John and Ruby listened intently. Issei then continues after pausing. Issei. I and my friends were preparing for the school festival. Rias and I had a little bit of a fight, so yeah, I was preparing for a school festival when I saw a hologram revealing Sierra Phoenix, the matriarch of Phoenix family. Remember I fought Riser, yeah that's his mother, she asked me to protect their daughter, I accepted. After that Rias, who was already disheartened, asked me a question, and when I failed to properly confess, she lashed out on me in anger and despair. The others berated me, which resulted in me also lashing out at them. After that I fled the scene in anger after rebuking at them. I then encountered two of my tormentors in school, the kendo captains. They attacked me, and I defended myself, sending one of them flying. Seeing what I had done, I had ran away. I then went to the fountain where I was killed by the fallen angel. After that I fell through the ground or no clipped and ended up where you guys ended up being. John. Why they used to torment you? Issei. Because they think that I peek on them when they change. My school has made my reputation into that of a pervert, and yes I am one, but before you run away or start attacking me, I do not peek on them everything, and most of the time I am a scapegoat to my friends, so yeah, they only see me as a bait to use and dispose. John. I see. Issei. You are not going to stay away from me? John. Honestly no, even though you are pervert, you did not hesitate in defending me and Ruby or act perverted. That shows that you are an honest man, despite it gets you hurt by them. Believe me, I have seen people far worse than you or those two perverted friends of yours back in Beacon. Take Carton for example, he is not a bully, but also a racist. He tried to attack Frannas, basically humans with animal features. You three are honestly much better than them, you are a man of honor, and I do not mind allying myself with you. Ruby. John is correct, besides you seem to be pretty nice and kind, even more than my very own sister. You are like my older brother figure, even more than my actual sister. I also do not mind joining you. Issei smiled. The dragons also agreed with their statement. It is no wonder he got the attention and respect of many people, and in some cases even love. John then spoke. John. Any idea how to get out of here? Issei. There are many ways to head to the real world, one of them is by level 11, another by the metro, but the most best outcome is by level 3999, where it is a guaranteed an exit. John. So which level are we in right now? Issei. Level 2. They both sulked, this is going to take forever, but Issei assured them. Issei. Worry not, I will get you guys home, so to get out of here, hey Drake wanna tell us? Drake. Indeed, we need to find a fire exit. This will take us to level 3, but be warned this place increases the temperature to 200°F, enough to cook a man alive. Both gulped, they knew that they needed to walk a lot of distance for a while. Issei. You guys would be fine, I can take the heat, I will protect you too. John. Alright then, let's go. They then proceed to head to the area where the door is. After walking for a while, they then head to what seemed to be a corridor. Issei told them to be ready for a smiler attack, which they had their guard up for. That was when someone grabbed John. John yelled for help, which attracted the attention of Issei and Ruby. Issei activated his boosted gear. Drake then spoke. Drake. Partner, that's a partygoer. These things are not good news. They are known to kill wanders or convert them into one of them. Issei. Let him go, you bastard. The partygoer responded in a raspy voice. Partygoer. Nah, he is going to join us to have some fun and parties equals. Issei. You. Issei growled in response. The partygoer fled the scene and ran. Issei, Rex and Ruby followed him. John tried to struggle, but he was unable to free himself from the partygoer's grasp. He then ran to yellow door, with a party sign on it. He immediately no-clipped into it. Ruby and Issei notice the door, and they both go inside. Greg. Partner, that leads to level fun, it is not good level. Greg warned him, but Issei responded. Issei. I know, but we need to save John from that damn partygoer. We will leave from here once we free him as soon as possible. Greg. Alright partner, but stay alive. Issei. Heh, I will, ready for this Ruby. Ruby looks at him in determination and responds. Ruby. I will not lose my first friend, no matter what. Issei. Heh, that's the spirit. Issei, Rex and Ruby then enter inside the yellow sign on it. They knew that they needed to be ready for anything. Issei knew that he will have to kill a party host if he needed to save John. Scene break. Chapter 5. Welcome to the party. Previously we saw that Issei had started to enter level 2, unlike the calm level 1, level 2 was quite known to be aggressive, with a bunch of entities, however Issei had some grenades that were made courtesy of Backrooms grown on level 7. Thankfully Issei was able to cripple and kill many of the entities there, like scratchers, hounds and skin stealers. He even brought out a squirt gun which MEG had given him, allowing him to survive over here. Issei then encountered a doll-like entity nicknamed Dollface. The Dollface then introduced themselves and attacked Issei. However Issei managed to tackle and defeat the Dollface, after which he tames it and names it Rex. They then move ahead only to find a Smiler nearby. Issei tried not to aggravate the Smiler, however it was still got angered. Issei killed the Smiler with his Flame Blaze ability, burning the Smiler alive. Issei along with Rex moved ahead only to see the two wanderers fighting against a horde of entities. Issei began to help them, and with their help they managed to completely defeat all the entities with relative ease. He had also helped the two wanderers destroy the entities along with Rex, destroying any fleeing many entities, since they were already weakened by Issei, it was actually easy. The wanderers then introduced themselves as John Arc, formerly Arc, and Ruby Rose. They too then had a talk about their origin, with John and Ruby explaining themselves to be from a place called Remnant. It was revealed that John had faked his transcripts to enter the Beacon Academy, the most prestigious academy there. That was where he met Ruby Rose, his first and true friend. John thought his life was set, but when his transcripts were exposed, everything went to hell. Everyone used to beat him up, including Ruby's own half-sister Yang Xiaolong, adding insult to injury. His parents, who already used to ignore him, now actually disowned him completely for ruining the Arc name. Eventually both him and Ruby ran away, since John knew that he did not belong here. He then was surrounded by Grimm, and they eventually fell off and woke up in level 0. John also revealed the ones that exposed his transcripts being his own bully and partner, which enraged the trio of Issei, Drake and Rex. Issei then explained his backstory, where he explained his journey from fighting against rogue supernatural creatures to gods. He then explained that when he was unable to give a confession to Rias about his feelings, she stormed out due to despair and anger. Everyone berated him, and he snapped back. He then ran to a waterfall, where he became a devil. He started to fall into the ground, resulting in him waking up in level 0. After that he traversed to level 1 and 2 and met up with them. They then walk to an exit where they were supposed to go to level 3, but a partygoer kidnaps John and takes him to level Fun. Ruby, Rex and Issei all go and rescue him, entering level Fun to save him from those wretched partygoers despite the risks. Level Fun, 4:30 p.m. Issei, Ruby and Rex immediately entered the partygoer infested level, where they needed to save John before he gets eaten or turns into a partygoer himself. One wrong move, and they would be partygoers' dinner for the night. Ruby in particular was confused by the decorations, given that the level seemed to be similar to that of level 0, but had party decorations. Ruby looked around to see that the level had a design similar to that of a children's party. While Ruby wanted to be excited, Issei warned her that this area could be a trap, since partygoers love and tend to lure their victims by this attempt. Ruby. Oh, I wish this level were actually nice and not this murder-filled level that it is now. Issei. I know, say any idea where that partygoer went. Rex. I think I saw one partygoer go in that direction, although I did not see John though. Issei understood, as Drake had informed him, that all partygoers are linked to each other by a sort of hive mind, where they are all linked to a single partyist, so their best bet was to follow the partygoer. They would find the partyist, and if possible John would be there. Worst case scenario, the partyist would be in a level like level redacted, a good place for hiding for a party host, but a terrible place for an unfortunate wanderer to be trapped in. If a said wanderer were to end up here, there is literally no way they could escape. They would be stuck here their entire lives for their entire time. Thankfully Issei had a plan in case the said partyist was at a level redacted. He had marked level 1, so he could teleport Ruby, Rex and John back to level 1, thanks to the ability gave to him by the first. But even still partyists are extremely rare to be found in level redacted, since the only other way to head there was by the void, and that too was by pure luck. Issei then noticed what seemed to be a food on the table. They decided to check it out. Ruby grabbed the food and tried to eat the food there. Drake, I would not do that if I were you, Ms. Rose. Ruby looked at Drake confused and asked, Ruby? Why, Mr. Drake? Is it poisoned? Drake. No, it is not poisoned, it is edible, you can eat it. However, that thing is made up of human flesh, so I would not advise you to eat that. Ruby immediately threw the food and cleaned her hands with almond water. She then went to a corner and threw up because of that. Even Issei had a disgusted look on his face. Rex on the other hand had a neutral look, given Dollface always had a neutral look on their faces. They knew the partygoers and partyists were extremely messed up, but this is just downright disgusting and messed up. Ruby then wiped her face up. She was clearly not comfortable with the scenario. Issei calmed her down. He and Rex then decided to go in a direction where John was taken by the partygoer. They then noticed an almond water on a table. Ruby then walked towards the water. Drake. Ruby knew, oh, it's a trap. But it was too late. In a flash, a partygoer showed up. Issei then immediately went to save Ruby. He was not going to lose her too. He immediately gave a gut punch to the bipedal being, making it cough inside its mask. The partygoer was next to him. He glared at a furious Issei. Partygoer. You dare to ruin our party, you partypooper, you will pay. Issei. Oh, I don't think so. Issei was not having any of it. He immediately used Ascalon to slice of the partygoer's arm. It screamed in pain as Issei chopped off his arm. Rex also assisted in teaching the partygoer a lesson by attacking it from behind. The gang up of 2 people was too much. Issei then fired a dragon shot, killing the partygoer in an instant. Issei. Ruby. Are you alright? Ruby. Yeah, I am fine, thanks for saving me and sorry for putting us under the bus. Issei. It's alright, but there might be more around. Since we killed one of them, there might be more around in a 2-mile radius. Stay on guard. Ruby. Understood. Ruby removed her scythe, prepared for any ambush from a partygoer horde. Issei also had his boosted gear out, since they knew that they will have to face against partygoers, eventually, ready to go into balance breaker in a minute's notice. They picked up the almond water. Issei analyzed the bottle to see whether it was expired or whether it is poisoned. Thankfully, after Drake analyzes it, it was not poisoned or something else. It was an actual bottle of almond water. He then kept it as a sort of emergency in case they needed it in the near future. After all, this was one of the most common ways a partygoer used to lure the wanderers in order to kill them for their own food and satisfaction. Issei had his Ascalon in his hand. Despite being a dragon-slaying sword, he knew that he needed to have some weapon in hand if he needed to kill these partygoers. Ruby. Say, is there more information about these partygoers that I need to know? Issei. Be careful of their teeth and claws. That's where they are able to turn a wanderer into another partygoer. Once this happens, the only way is by almond products like almond water and part amputation. It is like a snake bite in our world. Once the venom reaches our body, we immediately die. The only difference here is that we no longer are human. The hands of the victim will go a dark purple color and fall off, slowly being replaced by the partygoer's signature hook teeth. The victim's face will begin to slough off, as if melted from a fire, followed by their hair. At this point, the top layer of muscle will take on the appearance of a paper bag, as will the skin hanging off of the face. The blood shed at this stage is used to paint a smiley face onto the head where the face was. In the final step of this process, the victim's muscles appear to dry and shrivel. The victim will, at this point, gain vastly increased intelligence, a general distaste for other life, and lose their past memories. Around this point, the victim will no longer be able to communicate with other humans. This is the sign that they have mentally undergone the change. The amount of adrenaline in the bloodstream massively increases, and the limbs will begin to function again. Well, 1, they are linked to other partygoers, with a partyhist being the sort of master to them. Like a hive mind, we might face up against a partyhist, and although they are weak, they are not to be taken lightly. They will be surrounded by several partygoers. Ruby gasped. Drake had informed him everything all about these partygoers, and he informed them to Rubum, who was surprised. Ruby. Alright, now let's kill these partygoers before they hurt my first and only friend. Issei and Ruby walked ahead, weapons in hand. Issei had told Ruby to save on her energy, as she is going to need as much as possible. They needed to be alert at all times. Issei knew that he needed to protect Ruby, as she seemed to be a lot similar to Asia Argento. That was when they were surrounded by a horde of partygoers. After they walked a 2-mile distance, they were surrounded by 10 partygoers. Issei. Stick together, don't let them bite, scratch or latch onto you. Ruby. Understood. Partygoer. Stop, you will not ruin this party. Another partygoer responded. Partygoer number 2. You can still join our party equals. Issei then scoffed. Issei. Never, I will never join you bastards. I know everything about your kind. You have a choice, either tell us where our friend is and we will spare you, or you will regret it. The partygoers, being the overconfident entities they are, only laughed, making the trio enraged. They wanted to tear the partygoers apart for what they did. Issei in particular was furious about these bastards' actions. He then spoke. Issei. Last chance, tell us where John is or you are gonna regret it. Another partygoer responded. Partygoer number 3. Suck it, party pooper. Issei. So be it. Issei and Ruby along with Rex got ready for their fight against the partygoers. The partygoers, being much stronger than regular humans, were a challenge. Issei decided to cover for Ruby, since she did not seem like a close-range fighter. Ruby, on the other hand, converted her crescent rose into its sniper form and started to fire fire dust rounds at the partygoers, burning several of them. Issei also decided to kill these partygoers once and for all. He knew that fire dust is not enough, despite Ruby stalking on them to fight against these beasts. Still, it was not enough for killing these things off for good. He immediately went into his balance breaker form. Welsh Dragon Balance Breaker. Issei was clad in the same armor that made several of the partygoers flinch in fear as they saw her power. Issei then used his overwhelming speed to attack several of the partygoers that tried to get near or attack Ruby, killing 2 of them with precise dragon shots to the chest. 2 were slain, 8 to go. Issei. Ruby, keep firing those rounds at them, you can switch to regular bullets, if you run out of your ammo, I can give you the rounds I have. Ruby? Understood. Issei and Ruby pressed the advantage on these partygoers by constantly killing several of them, shocking these partygoers, they were easily falling apart one by one, and Issei was making sure that they stayed dead. Eventually 6 were down, since Issei sliced off any heads of the partygoers that came close to them, with Ruby constantly firing dust rounds. It was to say that a pure tug of war between the two. Eventually only 4 partygoers were left, Issei and Ruby knew that only these remain. The partygoers started to flee, Issei however cut off any way they can escape, especially by no clipping. Issei. There is no escape. Issei unleashed his flame blaze ability burning the 3 partygoers. Ruby added the pressure with using her own dust rounds, making sure that they are burned alive. They screamed in agony and fear as Issei watched them suffer with a neutral expression. Partygoer. Damn you partipuaparaya. The partygoer was burned alive, there now remained 1 partygoer left, he looked at the duo in pure fear, Issei knew what he needed to do, before he could escape, Issei had grabbed the said partygoer and asked, Issei. Tell me where John is, or I will give you a fate far worse than death. Partygoer. You will get nothing out of me, partipupara. Issei aimed the Ascalon to its throat, the partygoer knew that his former prey turned predator was not messing around, he made sure that it would hurt. Issei. Last chance, tell me where John is right now. Partygoer. Okay, I will tell, he is hidden behind the room, you do not have long before he becomes one of us, there is nothing you can do ha. Greg. I cannot sense deceit in it, it is telling the truth. Issei. Very well. Issei burned the partygoer alive with his flame blaze ability, the partygoer screamed in agony, he then asked, Partygoer. Aha, I thought you will spare me. Issei had a smirk on his face. Issei. I said, I won't give you a fate far worse than death, I never said I would spare you. The partygoer was burned alive, all 10 partygoers were killed with relative ease, he looked at Ruby having a shocked expression, she just saw Issei kill 10 partygoers as psychotic as they are, Issei then asked her, Issei. Sorry about that, are you alright? Issei patted her head, she responded, Ruby? Yeah, I am fine. Issei dispelled his armor. Ruby sensed that Issei even though hates the partygoers, she knew that Issei was a kind man when he saved her from the partygoer ambush, as well as an entity assault back in level 2. Ruby then smiled, Issei knew that he had another sister to protect even in the backrooms, and made a promise to himself that he would protect her and let her go home safely. Issei. Now let's find John and get the heck out of here. Ruby? Yep. Issei and Ruby headed to the room, to what seemed to be the main party hall. Issei felt killer intent behind the room, he also had sensed John's presence, thinking the partygoer that he had killed was correct, they really do fear death and can be negotiated with, he did not trust any partygoers, since they are known to be quite deceitful in nature. Issei. Ruby, we need to be careful, there might be an ambush, since the partygoers inside know that we have killed 10 of their kind, I know you want to save John, but we need to work together, if we need to save him and get the heck out of here, we cannot be reckless. Ruby was skeptical, but she knew that Issei had experience from living here, she reluctantly agreed to her suggestion. Ruby? Alright Issei. They opened the door, only to see it to be completely darkened, however this was not a problem to Issei, since devils have an advantage in the night, he could see the partygoers, had their weapons ready to kill them on sight, he put on the light and immediately ducked himself, Rex and Ruby down, causing the weapons to miss. Issei. Ruby now. John saw the two had come to rescue him, he was happy that they came for him. As for Issei and Ruby, it was the key for them to fight against a horde of the partygoers. Ruby and Issei got close and easily destroyed their weapons, thanks to Ruby's crescent rose back in its side stage, and Issei's Ascalon, as she and Issei were able to hold the partygoers off with relative ease. Issei used dragon shot on the partygoers killing several of them, he then went into his balance breaker once again. They made sure to not let their claws and teeth bite them, since they knew that if they were bitten, they will become one of these creatures. Welsh Dragon Balance Breaker. Issei once again went into his balance breaker, he easily slaughtered any of the partygoers that were close to John, Issei could see that he was almost getting bitten by a partygoer, Issei was not letting any of that happen, he immediately used a dragon shot, sending the partygoer flying, due to the sheer impact alone, Issei then fired another dragon shot killing it instantly, he then used Ascalon to slice off the partygoers, while evading their attacks with relative ease, he knew that he cannot be bitten, since his armor is much stronger, and their bites and claws are weaker than Fenrir has children, he easily killed majority of the partygoers, eliminating any of the partygoers that had survived. Ruby also had better luck in killing these partygoers, she easily used her scythe to kill any of the partygoers that had dared to come close and bite her, she easily chopped off their heads off killing them instantly, since Issei took on most of the partygoers, Ruby had it much easy compared to Issei. She easily killed any of the partygoers that had tried to bite or claw her, so that they could convert her into one of them. She then joined Issei, and they both looked at John, who was smiling. John? You came? Issei. Of course, we are friends and we need to stick together, Ruby. Issei is right, you are my first friend, and there is no way I am going to abandon you. Your team might have abandoned you, but I will not, and neither will Issei. Issei. Now come, let's get you out of here. John. Right, if you had come later, they would have bitten me, they told that I would become one of them, what does that mean? Issei. I will explain later, long story short you will become a partygoer, now let's get the heck out of here. I would not do that if I were you. Issei and Ruby turned around to see an immobile figure on a surface with shriveled eyes, surrounded by birthday candles, they were surrounded by even more partygoers. Issei and Ruby ignored his presence since their priority was John since he was captured by them. Issei knew that he should have killed it before it could gather more reinforcements. Issei. I take it you are the partyist. Partyist. Indeed, and you have been destroying my parties, you are not welcome here, but you will certainly not leave out of here alive, you party pooper. Issei. Heh, it is kind of your fault in the end, one of your partygoers had the bright idea of attacking us and kidnapping John, it is your fault that they are dead. Ruby. Yeah, you should have left our friend alone you meanie. Partyist. I cannot let that happen, you see he is our special guest, he would have become one of us if you had not intervened and killed the partygoer, either he would be consumed by us or become into one of us, we could have converted him into a partygoer, but we chose to keep him alive since our bites were not having any effects on him because of something protecting him. Ruby understood that it was his aura that protected him this whole time, and given John's semblance's aura amp, he can regenerate his aura for a long amount of time, allowing him to get the advantage on certain enemies like the Ursa he had slain back in Remnant. Issei. So are you going to let us go, with our friend, we will let bygones be bygones, and will not hurt any of you guys. The partyist gritted his teeth, no way it is going to let these partypoopers ruin the party, it gave the command telepathically to slaughter them, and destroy them, and to extract their weapons. Issei. So be it, Ruby, Rex released John from his restraints, I will handle them. Ruby asked worriedly. Ruby. But there are too many of them, your balance breaker will not hold them off. Rex. Yeah I can help you. Issei. Who said that my balance breaker was my strongest? Ready Dreg. Dreg. Yeah partner, give that cocky partyist hell. The boosted gear announced. Illegal move Triana. Issei activated his illegal move Triana, the same ability that was able to push back Cao Cao and the hero faction back in Kyoto, even to the extent of destroying his eye. He then went into his knight form, Welsh Sonic Boost Knight. Issei. Armor release. The boosted gear announced. Change Star Sonic. The form also known as Dragon Star Knight can easily move up to speeds faster than an eye can't see. The speed alone was able to send several partygoers flying, shocking the partyist. It never calculated that this mere human can perform such feats. Issei then entered his rook form. Issei. Welsh Dragonic Rook. The boosted gear announced. Change Solid Impact. Issei easily transformed into his Welsh Dragonic Rook form, which was a form that was known for its durability and strength. He easily smashed the ground, smashing and killing several partygoers with relative ease. The partyist then telepathically told the remaining ones to go after the ruby, however Issei noticed their cowardly tactic. Issei. Welsh Blaster Bishop. The boosted gear announced. Change Fang Blaster. Issei entered into his bishop form, which allowed him to use 2 cannons on his back. These cannons charged a greenish-red beam at the partygoers, trying to go after Ruby and John. Ruby had a crescent circle ready, just in case they did anything funny, and tried to claw or bite her or John, however the beam killed several and disintegrated the remaining partygoers with relative ease. Surprising the duo, they knew that they managed to get a strong ally on their side. The partyist was surprised that all the partygoers that it had linked to had all been killed with ease. It looked at Issei in pure fear, it hated the fact that it could only watch its partygoers get killed in cold blood. Issei then brought his Ascalon and said, Issei. Any last words? Partyist. No, please, don't kill me, I will do anything. Issei. Sorry mate, you had your chance, you should have asked your kind to flee, but you took me for granted, you underestimated us, you tried to kill us or make us your slaves, now beggin'. Issei then sliced off the partyist's head before it could say anything. He then fired a dragon shot, destroying the remnants of the partyist. Issei managed to save himself and his friends from the partygoers, but they needed to get out of here. They may not have the strength to face another partyist and his partygoer army. Ruby managed to get John out of his restraints. They had a tearful embrace. Issei then came to John and asked, Issei. Hey, are you alright? They have not done anything. John. No, they haven't. They would have if you guys had not shown up. Issei. Alright, let's get out of here. Drake told me that there is a door, it can either lead to level 0, 1, 3 or 11. John. Right, anything is better than this hellscape. Issei, along with the others and Rex who had been helping Ruby with the restraints, all of them reached the door. They opened the door and got out of there to what seemed like an electrical area. They seemed to have reached level 3. Scene break. Chapter 6. Electrical hallways. Previously we saw Issei, Rex and Ruby enter level 1 to rescue John from the partygoers that kidnapped him. They entered the level only to notice that it seemed to be similar to level 0, albeit with some decoration akin to that of a children's birthday party. Issei and Ruby look for the partygoer that had kidnapped John, while Rex managed to see something that was something like a partygoer that kidnapped John. Issei and Ruby along with Rex seemed to be headed close to what seemed to be food there. Drake managed to stop Ruby before she could consume it. When Ruby asked why, Drake informed them that it was made up of human flesh, which caused Ruby to clean her hands off with a bottle of almond water and puke in a nearby corner. After Ruby recovered, she, along with Issei and Rex, all headed to the area where Rex last saw the partygoer. Ruby saw almond water left like that on the table. Drake warned her that it would be a trap, but it was too late. Ruby was already headed there. She was ambushed by a lone partygoer, but Issei intercepted the attack, killing it and saving Ruby. Ruby apologized for putting herself in danger, after which she and Issei along with Rex had a talk about the partygoers, where Issei pretty much informed her about everything, their nature, behavior and how they turn their victims into one of them. Eventually they were surrounded by a horde of 10 partygoers who all wanted to stop them from advancing their room. Issei and Ruby knew they did not have much time since John back there was defenseless. They immediately slaughtered all 9 of the 10 partygoers, with Rex also assisting them in killing said partygoers. Issei then grabbed the last one and threatened the location, which the cowardly entity gave the information to it, after which Issei kills it. Issei had no faith in them, and trusting them is foolishness. Issei, Rex and Ruby entered a dark room. Thanks to him being able to see in the darkness, he saw that they were heavily armed. He then out on the light and ducked his friends. Then they all went to kill all the partygoers present, and they then go to rescue John from the partygoers. However, they did not notice Partahist had called in more reinforcements, and by the time they could sense him, it was too late. Several more partygoers had come to prevent their rescue mission. Issei decided to take them on, while asking Ruby and Rex to release John from his restraints. He then went into illegal move Triana and killed all the remaining partygoers that had come in as reinforcements. He then looked at the Partahist and killed it as well, taking the entire army of partygoers and a single Partahist down for good. After which all 4 of them leave the room before any partygoer could come and attack them while they are vulnerable, and head to a door which takes them to level 3. Level 3, 5:30 PM. Issei, along with the rest of his friends head to what seems to be an endless electric station. It seemed to be quite claustrophobic for everyone present, including Rex, who was despite being a dollface was looking pretty uncomfortable about it. Issei. Hey Rex, you doing alright? Rex. I dunno Issei, this area is scaring me down. Ruby. I gotta agree with Rex, even I am not comfortable with these halls, they are as bad as level 2, we honestly need to get out of here, not to mention I am constantly being watched. Issei. Yeah, I sense a presence too, but I am unable to figure out what exactly it is. Bragg then responded from the boosted gear. Bragg. There are entities called stalkers in this level. Ruby jumped in terror, she was not at all comfortable in this highly claustrophobic level. John calmed her down. Issei then asked. Issei. Are they the ones who are giving us this feeling of being watched? Bragg. Indeed partner, stalkers, also codenamed Entity 12, is a class variable entity. The variable reasoning is because of the different types of these things. They are glowing eyes or cylinders that roam around the backrooms. Stalkers are mysterious entities, they look like glowing cylinders or glowing eyes. Stalkers were one of the most populous entities in the backrooms, before more than 80% of stalkers were wiped for an unknown reason. There are 3 types of stalkers. 1. Green-eyed stalkers. Green-eyed stalkers are a passive version of the stalker. They will teleport a person that touches them into level 550. 2. Blue-eyed stalkers. Blue-eyed stalkers are another passive version of the stalkers. They are quite rare to find, but if you do find them they won't do anything. 3. Red-eyed stalkers. Red-eyed stalkers are aggressive stalkers which when touched will make the person that touched them get the urge to cry, which can alert entities, and they will make the person who touched them will small bits of pain, which will get more painful depending on how much time the person stays in the level. These effects will reset when the person exits the level or drinks almond water or super almond water. Issei then looked around to only see a pair of green eyes looking at him. Issei noticed that these were the passive green-eyed stalker. Ruby went to touch them, but Issei grabbed her hand. He told the others to avoid touching them, since they did not know what kind of level was level 550, it could be a dead zone, and they did not want to take the risk. Issei and the others then left the entity alone. They were still being watched, but they ignored the feeling, since none of the stalkers respond unless you act upon them. They were surrounded by the usual entities like skin stealers and hounds. Despite being higher than usual, they did not have any problem killing these entities. John was also able to kill several of these entities without hesitation. He never would have guessed that he would survive in an area which was far more dangerous than Remnant itself. He wanted to yell, "Suck it Remnant," but he had to stay quiet given that many entities are known to be attracted by sound. That was when all of a sudden the level closed down, splitting up Ruby and Rex on one side and Issei and John on the other. The door was so fast that they could only dodge, and they were split into two on the other side, with each facing a few entities on either side. Issei. What the fuck just happened? Greg. This level is known for its automated doors that shut at random intervals. The only way to open is by defeating the entities on either side. John. So we need to defeat these guys if we need to help and save Ruby. Greg. Indeed, John. John. Well, let's take out these bastards and help Ruby and the others. Issei. You needn't tell me twice, Greg. Let's go, partner. Welsh Dragon Balance Breaker. Issei was once again clad in the same red armor. He then looked at the skin stealers and hounds who tried to flee, but were cornered by both John and Issei. Issei used his Flame Blaze ability to easily destroy the hounds and skin stealers with relative ease. John used his sword to easily slash them with relative ease. The doors then opened up, only to see that Ruby and Rex were struggling against the hounds and skin stealers on the other side. One of the hounds tried to slash Ruby, but it gets its head impaled thanks to John aiming his attack at the head. Issei then asked, "Issei. Are you two alright, Ruby? I can still fight, just a little exhausted." Issei. Now let's take them out once and for all. Issei and John also joined in the fight. Most of the entities fled out of pure instinct. They did not want to deal with this group. They all killed any of the entities that tried to attack them and managed to move out of here unscathed. Issei then gave each of them a bottle of almond water to each of the gang, and they consumed it, restoring most of their stamina. Ruby. Thanks Issei. How much of almond water do you still have? Issei. Lem check, I guess I have 7 of them left. That should be more than enough for us to survive. John. As for me, I have only 4 of them, plus we are gonna need it, since this area is quite making me nervous. With the constant stalkers, it still surprised me that many of them were eliminated, since they were known to be passive. Issei. Yeah, if there is anything in the backrooms I have learned so far, being passive only gets you killed. I am planning to get out of here. My parents, and the Occult Research Club, along with the faction leaders must be worried for me. It has been a day and a half since our disappearance. John. I highly doubt they care about me back at Remnant. For them I was nothing but a faker, someone who did not deserve to attend Beacon Academy. They even tried to kill me. Honestly, I would love to visit your world. As far as they are concerned, I am dead to them. Ruby interjected. Ruby. Don't be like that. I care for you. The professors care about you. Even if your parents did not care for you, Headmaster Osmond and Professor Goodwitch seemed to care about you. If anything, I saw Goodwitch clean and heal your wounds while you were injured, thanks to them and my sister. Ruby said the last part with spite. She really hated what her sister had become. This was not the sister she grew up with, who beat someone relentlessly without any reason. John only talked to her at most, and whenever she did, Yang patiently waited for her to leave, and she used to torment John like anything. John reminisces everything that had happened to him in Remnant. Flashback. John had told Purr about his transcripts, however, instead of accepting him, she slaps him hard, and she said that she wished that she never met him. Adding insult to injury, Carden Winchester, a bully, who used him for many things that happened. John. Carden, please do not tell anyone. Carden. Oh Johnny boy, I will keep your secret, but you have to do something for me. John looked down, defeated his partner, abandoned him, and he truly was hopeless. John. I will do anything. And that's when John's true hell began. He was made to do Carden's homework and many other stuff. Everything that Carden done was pretty much put on him. But everyone knew about Carden. But that made him even more angry. John began to wonder why was he even here. He is nothing but a racist, without any honor or decency. He really started to question about the Academy's instructions. Flashback ends. John was reminiscing, however both he and Ruby snapped him out of it, interrupting the flashback. Issei then told. Issei. Don't remember about them. They are not worthy of you or your loyalty. I believe in our world my school would pretty much see you as a prince, like one of my friends Kiba. John. Why do you think that? Issei. Well, you are good looking, no homo, you are kind-hearted, loyal, you do not discriminate against people despite their gender, race or even their type. People like you are rare to be found. You have earned the care of the professors back home and the friendship and loyalty of someone like Ruby Rose. I bet my folks back home would like you. John. Thanks Issei, I needed that. Ruby. Issei is right, everything he just said shows that you are what it means to be a true huntsman, not my sister. You need a heart and compassion, not strength, which not a lot of people have. You are a hero John, you are my hero. John had a little bit of a subtle blush, which Issei noticed. Oh boy, how he is going to tease them sooner or later. Issei. Anyways, we need to find a way before these doors close in on us once again. Greg. I would suggest finding an elevator that is unmarked. This should take you out of these electrical hallways either into level 4 or level 5. If I were to suggest a level, I would go to level 4. However, I would suggest you to avoid taking elevators marked with greenery, as this would take you to level 931, which is extremely risky. Even the data I received states that it is known to drive you insane enough to fall into the void. Issei. The void. Greg. Once you get there, there is no escape, you will keep falling for all eternity, never go there. I know you have the power to travel back to level 1 in case such an event happens. John. What power? Issei. Oh right, I have not told you guys right. Well, I have this power that allows me to travel to any level which I have marked, but I need to visit that level once, and I have marked level 1. John. How did you get that power? Issei. Oh boy, do I have a story for you. Issei then explained his encounter with the creator and the leader of MEG, Major Exploration Group. He took interest in him and was happy to meet up with him. He then explained that he is the one that gave him these powers. Ruby, Rex and John was intrigued by the story. They were happy for their friend. He was then asked to look after any wanderers that came in and send them to a safe area. Needless to say, the trio looked at Issei with respect. He is truly something else. Issei. But even with these powers, if I use them, it would be under a cooldown of 48 hours. I cannot use them once again. Despite this, we should avoid taking risks like these. Like level 931 is pretty dangerous, and it should be avoided. If there is anything about this place, it is known to be quite deceiving, and we must stick together, alright, is that clear? John and Ruby nodded. They knew that this level 931 must be avoided, despite Issei's teleportation powers. There was silence for a while, after which Issei then broke the silence by saying, Issei. Alright then, it's settled. We need to find an elevator that takes us to level 4. John. Say, do you think I will be meeting him? Issei. I honestly don't know. If anything, I would consider myself extremely lucky just by meeting him, but I highly doubt this is the last time I will be meeting him. Ruby. I wonder what he likes to eat. I just hope it is not pancakes. John flinched, which Ruby noticed. She then apologized. Ruby. Sorry John, I never knew. John. It's alright Ruby, I should just move on. Issei. I am confused. Ruby. I will explain later, now is not the time. Issei nodded. He knew that John's time at Remnant was pretty traumatizing, so he decided to stay quiet and ask John when the time was right. They moved through the claustrophobic hallways once again. It was honestly annoying, considering every now and then they encountered either a hound or a skin stealer which they easily killed without hesitation. They needed to know an exact way out of there without attracting any more of the hostile entities. That was when they saw another human-like entity next to them. Greg. Guys, that's no good news. That's a child Faseling. Unlike the adults, they may either be mischievous or dangerous. The Faseling had a knife in hand. She spoke. Faseling. Precious. It charged at the 4 with the intent to kill. John immediately parried the Faseling. Given her lack of experience in fighting, he tried to strike her down only to notice that she had no face. John watched in horror. The Faseling had no facial expression, nothing, only a face, without any eyes, mouth, nose or ears. The Faseling saw this as an advantage and pushed the blonde back, surprising John. John. That thing had nothing on his face, no eyes, mouth, nothing. The Faseling got up and dusted the clothes on her body. Issei tried to negotiate. Issei. Listen, we don't want to fight, we only want to get out of here. The Faseling did not respond and once again charged to kill. During the charge her hair moved and Ruby and Issei saw her face. Ruby gasped in horror. She knew John was right, while Issei was unaffected. He has seen worse things than this. He tried to summon Ascalon, but Drake informed him something. Drake. There is a better way, just touch her. These things are sensitive to touch. Once you do, they will immediately fall asleep. That is when they are distracted and you can escape. Issei immediately grabbed and disarmed the Faseling, much to her horror. He then patted her head, which caused her to go asleep. Issei then told the others. Issei. Now is our chance, let's leave it alone and head outside. John, are you alright? John. Yeah, I am surprised that a child has such strength. Rex. Are you sure she is distracted? Issei. Yeah, she is sleeping like a baby, literally. They noticed that the child Faseling had completely fallen asleep. Issei and the others saw this as an opportunity to get the heck out of there and move to find those elevators so that he can get the hell out of here. The doors have not thankfully closed, so they can still keep moving. Issei and the others then noticed a dark hallway. They knew that they needed to avoid hallways since it is known to host smilers and several subspecies. Issei. Say Drake, do you know where those elevators are? Drake then spoke from the boosted gear. Drake. We need to head to the hallway end, where they would be an automated door, controlled by a switch. There might be multiple doors like these, and some might lead to traps, so we need to avoid them. Issei. Okay. That was when they once again got surrounded by a horde of skin stealers, hounds and surprisingly partygoers. Issei then spoke. Issei. You partygoers never learn, do they? The partygoers charged in an attempt to avenge their former master the Partyhus that they killed back in level 1 without any mercy. Despite losing their master they were still a threat. Issei decided to take them out once and for all. Issei managed to kill all these partygoers with relative ease, using his Ascalon to slice off the partygoers' heads, killing them instantly. John and Ruby assisting in taking down the hounds and skin stealers. Ruby? These hounds are really annoying. Rex, who was killing one of the hounds with relative ease, spoke. Rex. Bad dog, bad doggy. John was dealing with the skin stealer with relative ease. His semblance aura amp allowed him to regenerate any aura that was damaged by them, allowing him to slay the skin stealers with relative ease. Issei on the other hand was slaying these partygoers like a boss. Eventually most of the partygoers were either slain or defeated. One of the skin stealers charged at John from a sneak attack, but Issei used his Ascalon to hold the attacker off. This allowed John to easily kill the skin stealer off, with his sword taking them out in an instant. Eventually most of the entities have either fled or been defeated. Issei and the others decided to rest for a while, before they decided to move on and find those elevators, which was still quite a distance. Issei noticed the complex machinery which was surprisingly well maintained, compared to level 2. Issei and the others then visited machinery that was present in one of the rooms. Thankfully it was well maintained, although he did not know where does the output get sent to, like it is supposed to be sent to a different destination. Ruby? This machinery, I wonder who operates them, like is it humans, or some entities or anything? Issei. Those are mysteries we will never come to know till the end of life. Well, let's go and find those elevators before we get ambushed by another one of these entities. Issei and the gang then proceed to find the elevators when they notice a moth that was as small as a regular moth and it fluttered around a light source. Greg. Partner, that's a deeming. Issei. A deeming, are they harmful? Greg. Well no, but actually yes, you see the males are harmless and even tameable, it's the females that are considered dangerous, hostile and harmful. Greg then goes into detail with the deemings. Greg. Deeming, codenamed Entity 4, are giant moths that inhabit the backrooms. While the male death moths are mostly harmless and possibly even tameable using almond water, the female moths are several times larger, can spit acid, and are entirely hostile. Death moths are attracted to light, so if you hear the fluttering of wings nearby, make sure to put any light source out. Female death moths produce a jelly-like secretion known moth jelly, as that they use to feed their young and amass harems of males. This jelly is highly sought after due to its nutritional value and beneficial qualities, although it is highly dangerous to consume in large amounts, as it is extremely addictive, and consuming too much can result in the consumer transforming into a weremoth. This resource can also be used as a form of shield from these entities, as it makes females not attack you and males will even protect you for a period of time, due to the female death moth pheromones in the jelly, making them believe you are a female. Issei. So basically creatures that desire to be having a reverse harem. Greg. Sort of, just imagine a female hostile version of yourself, partner. Issei. Oh no. Issei was under a distress that there are entities that are similar to him, even in the backrooms. It was just like his potential was running amok and causing some random people to grope women, back in Kyoto. Greg then sighed while the others chuckled at Issei's pity. Rex consoled his master for his perversion. The deeming on the other hand ignored the four. Ruby and John were not interested in taming it, since this creature is known as the biggest simp in terms of entities. They then decided to move on ahead, since they decided to let the deeming enjoy his time with the light and not bother it. Issei went ahead to notice more facelings, both male and female. He was informed by Drake that they do have regular organs as well as genitals as well, hence there existed both male and female facelings to different types like polygonal facelings, old facelings and finally shadow facelings, which are the most aggressive even more than child facelings. Issei and the others ignored them and moved on ahead with finding the elevator, since that is the one where they should be heading at. Eventually they move across and finally find the elevator they were looking for. Issei. This is it for this level. With the elevator, we can go to level 4 or level 5, plus I don't see any greenery marking on them, so I think we should be safe. John. So we are one step closer to getting out of here. Nice, are you guys ready? Ruby and Rex. Yeah. They enter the elevator and press the elevator. They watch as the level 3 becomes more and more far. Scene break. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown in left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video please like and share this video.